And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes! Payload down to nominal.
Fighting downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange! 145!
Oh my god!
Decollage.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting the flare, correct?
Yikes. Keep red. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
You're looking at a Falcon 9 sitting proud atop LC-39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and it is going to launch the USSF, that's the United States Space Force 36 mission, which will be the 8th flight of the super cool X-37B little mini spaceplane. We are NASA Spaceflight, that's nasaspaceflight.com, and we point our cameras at every launch we possibly can. I'm Jack Beyer, I'll be your host for this evening, and joining me on commentary, we have Max Evans, who is out there in the field pointing cameras at this rocket at Kennedy Space Center right now as I speak. Max, how do you hear me?
I have you 5x5, Jack, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Kennedy Space Center, the America's and the world's premier spaceport. And we are getting ready to see the glorious X-37B orbital test vehicle take to the skies one more time.
Absolutely. It's a really cool flight, it's a really cool vehicle, and hopefully we'll get some really cool visuals of it, courtesy of Max and the remote camera operators. Also, joining us on commentary today, we have the one and only D Wise. D, how do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. It is a wonderful evening for this rocket to go to space. It's different for me not being in person there and being on commentary for this launch, but it is a great evening for a launch, I am sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, you are here. You just got to Starbase. So, Max, thank you for holding down the fort. Helicopter, holding down the fort there in Florida. In the meantime, hopefully you can not have to rush super crazily here to Starbase when the time comes for Flight 10. But in the meantime, seriously, thank you. We appreciate the views. Also operating today's stream, we have Carson, the one and only. Thank you, Carson, for operating the stream. And finally, the last little bit of housekeeping for tonight's launch before we jump right into it is that if you have any questions, you can at NASA Spaceflight or at NSF, that's a new development, in chat, and we can see your software pop up. Wow, we can see your software. We can see your question pop up in some software we have running in the background. All right. Well, I think we should start off and get a bit of a report from the field and what is the situation on the ground tonight. Max, how's the weather? How are you doing? Hopefully you're not having to swat off clouds of mosquitoes, but hopefully things are looking good for a launch tonight.
Yeah, one of the perks of being able to set up for a launch from LC-39A as opposed to Slick 40 is that we can just set up right in front of our building here over at the Kennedy Space Center and not have to lug our gear all the way out onto the lawn into the one and only spot you can actually see Slick 40 from here. So a pleasant change of pace, and it is always a treat as well to see Falcon 9 getting off the ground from this historic launch complex. And as you can see, we are in some preconditioning operations at the moment with some clouds of vapor being vented out from the transporter erector, typical to what we see at about this time, and all indications that we have right now are that everything is proceeding on time. In terms of the weather, we are currently looking at a 35% probability of violation at the opening of the window, which is about 3.5 hours long, I think it is, 3.5 hours, and then towards the end of the window, which we hopefully will not need, it goes down to only 20%, which is better, but that's not to say the weather right now looks bad, because it certainly does not, at least according to our Mark 1 eyeballs. In terms of the additional risk criteria, in terms of upper level wind shear, booster recovery weather, which is actually going to be here at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and solar activity, all of that is reading low. So everything is trending in the right direction, as we like to say. And as I mentioned earlier, this booster, which is actually hang on a second, I forgot what it was, B1092, and this will be its 6th flight after stage separation, is going to be pulling a big ol' U-turn and coming back over here to what was LZ2, and I think now is just the LZ, because LZ1 is now currently offline and getting ready to be used by its new lessor over on the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. So it is always a treat to see a nighttime RTLS or return to launch site mission, because that means we are going to see some epic Falcon 9 Nebula action against the dark sky with clear skies, hopefully, permitting, and right now it looks to be so. So yes, this is a rather special mission, even though this is I forget how many launches we've seen this year at night and after 10 p.m. I think that number's stacking up pretty quick. But as I mentioned earlier, this is booster B1092, and in terms of the rest of the Falcon 9 fleet, first stage fleet, this is a youngster, with this only being its 6th flight currently scheduled, and its flight history currently consists of NROL 69, nice, CRS 32, GPS 37, and 2 previous Starlink missions. So not a lot of history on it, but that is, of course, warranted when the booster is still as young as this one is, especially in terms of how many boosters have flown, are either at or above 20 flights now, which I think is around, Alex in the back channel help me out. I want to say it's around 5 or 6 boosters at or above 20 flights now on both coasts. And I believe 1092 as well is a Falcon Heavy side booster converted for Falcon 9 use. That seems to be a common theme nowadays, from Falcon Heavy hardware being converted to Falcon 9. At about 8.5 minutes after launch, we are hopefully going to see the booster touching down on the wow, I almost just said drone ship, even though we just went over it's an RTLS. It is not a drone ship recovery. Forgive me, folks. It's been a long day. But yes, everything is currently proceeding as we expect it to for an on-time T0 at 11:50. So cross your fingers. And hopefully we can get Falcon 9 off the ground in just over 50 minutes' time.
Hopefully, indeed. I'm really enjoying the conditioning going on the TE, like little poofs. It almost looks like actual liquid oxygen, like that bluish vapor that's going down, or the bluish whatever that's traveling downward versus the white vapor that's just sort of ascending upward. I don't know. It's beautiful one way or the other. Some really nice views tonight. And as Max said, this is going to be an RTLS. So once the rocket lifts off, we get the extra treat of it coming back home. So that's going to be nice. What's also nice is people coming out to support the stream. Bobby Rodriguez, upgrading to a Red Team membership. Thank you for that, Bobby. Mr. Fluffy02, what's up? They say, Mr. Jack. That's Mr. Yak to you. No, I'm kidding. I was just asking during countdown if the new hats fit size 8 heads and stuff. Bacon. I assume, I don't know. That's a question for the store team. I will ask them and get back to you, see what they say. Wayne Edward, thank you for the support. They say, spill the tea. What tea? I guess maybe we should spill the tea on the payloads, which are mostly classified, but we do know a little bit about what the X-37B is going to be doing up there. D, I should not be looking at chat. Hi, Loopy. D, what's going on with the payloads?
Yeah, so as you said, with it being a more military classified type mission, we don't have a ton of information on all this stuff. But the X-37B is, I mean, I saw someone in chat say it earlier, and I don't know if Jack will say it, so I'll say it. It's sort of like a stubby shuttle almost. And so it's a platform for a whole bunch of different missions that they can complete. And one of these, for this one in particular, is a demonstration of laser communication with other satellites. So it'll be a high bandwidth communication, probably with Starshield satellites. Like we don't know all that much about Starshield beyond it's like the military version of Starlink with those laser interconnects. So They're probably testing some of the laser communications with those Starshield satellites. And they're also testing new navigation methodology that's not GPS based, that involves quantum inertial sensors. I don't know, Jack, if you know more about these quantum inertial sensors in space.
Okay, so I am just a guy with a beard, and I just point camera, push button. uh, but yeah, it sounds like they're going to take advantage of the properties of atoms and quantum mechanics to not use GPS for navigation, but instead have essentially what is a inertial navigation system, but it uses, instead of like gears and cogs and all of that, it uses quantum mechanics and atoms and lasers. I'm glossing over all the details because I am not a physicist and this is so beyond my realm of expertise. But essentially, instead of using GPS, where you get signals from other satellites, let's say you're in a pure state conflict and all those satellites are destroyed, you don't have GPS anymore. Now you need to use some sort of internal navigation thing. And traditional INSs, internal navigation or inertial navigation systems, have drift. I mean, everyone's always seen the missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. That whole thing, that's talking about inertial navigation systems. But in order to be even more accurate, they're going to use quantum stuff. That's my best stab at it, D.
So what you're saying is the X-37 knows where it is because it knows where it isn't by the grace of space lasers.
Sort of. It's like Schrodinger's cat, kind of. So the X-37B doesn't know where it is or isn't until it is there, and then it knows. I think that's right.
Wow, that's deep.
It's pretty cool though, and that's basically what the X-37B is for, is to test, at least that's what they say it's for, is to test all kinds of new technologies and stuff, because you can launch it, throw a whole bunch of technology up there, test it for extended periods of time on orbit, and then bring it back down to Earth, and then check it out, look at it, maybe fly it again. So pretty cool. I would love to know more about what they're doing, and I would love to talk with a physicist who knows more about such things. Cough, Alex, cough. But yeah, Alex isn't on stream, so really interesting either way. One thing, Max, I don't know if we know this. Do you know if this X-37B is going to fly with the little like payload buddy? I forget what they have been calling it, but it has like an extra service module kind of thing tagging along that it can ditch before entry.
I don't know off the top of my head. I know.
I assume
No,
it is,
I don't.
but
I don't
but
know.
I don't know if they've actually said one way or the other.
Yeah, and the reason why information is so scarce about the X-37 is it remains one of the most classified vehicles ever flown to space, and that is primarily contracted and maintained by Boeing, and it is based actually here over at the Kennedy Space Center at a former OPF, or Orbiter Processing Facility, that I can literally see with my own eyes just to the
Right.
left of the VAB.
Yeah,
It's
anytime
kind of
I've been at KSC and drive sort of to the press site, you pass sort of near or by that building, and every time I'm like, ooh. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the Lion King when the hyenas are like Mufasa, ooh. It's like I'm like, ooh, X-37B, ooh. Like there's spooky
It's
stuff in
also
there.
it's so cool because it's like even the visitor tours, if you go to the KSC visitor complex, they drive pretty near that building and it's a really secret space plane. But of course, you look over and you see that hangar, and there's a nice big portrait of it on the side and a sign that
Right.
says "Home of the X-37."
I mean, okay, let's way off the rails here, but let's take a step back for a moment. I'm a peer state adversary. I want to surveil the X-37B. I'm already going to know what building it goes to and it lives in. I don't need a picture on the side of it to tell me. So at a certain point, it's like, oh, that's kind of silly. They have a picture of the secret thing on the side of the building. But on the other hand, if you're on KSC property, you're probably already good, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I do get it. It is kind of silly.
You'd sure hope so, at least.
Yeah, right. There you can see the X-37B in pre-encapsulation inside the fairings, which is always nifty. The X-37B is like seemingly right on the limits of what can even fit in a Falcon 9 fairing, which is wild in its own right. Max, do we know anything about the fairings that are going to be flying on this flight?
Other than that, they are the standard Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy payload size fairings. I don't believe so. There's probably a bit more sound deadening inside to make sure that the payload inside is as protected as possible because any rocket launch for any payload is a rather violent experience, and you want to make sure that your payload can withstand all of the loads that it is going to undergo under both phases of flight, under first stage burn and second and stage 2 flight. So nothing special as far as we know, and the only, I guess, specialness when it comes to payload fairings that is coming soon for the Falcon family of rockets is going to be the extra long extended payload fairings that are going to be used on certain classified Space Force missions on Falcon Heavy. And there's still no real ETA on that, maybe in the next couple of years. We know we saw it over at Slick 40 last year at some point, undergoing what we presume was acoustic testing because he was in rather close proximity to Slick 40, and that is the most active launch pad in the world at the moment. But hopefully seeing that soon. But in terms of these payload fairings, at least on the outside, we can't really see much different. But there probably is a smattering of uniqueness inside, whether it be with sound deadening or whatever else is needed. It is a very classified mission, so any information is scarce.
Yeah, but that kind of makes it extra fun. I mean, personally, for me, my favorite things in spaceflight are crewed missions, firsts, lasts, and of course, the spooky stuff. Which is why Atlantis, in my opinion, is the best shuttle, because it has done some of the most spooky stuff of all the shuttles. Let me thank some more people. Maryland Bertolini, I am so sorry for butchering your name. Your name deserves to be said in a much more beautiful way than I said, but there you go. Thanks for becoming a Pandrat member. Mafia Matt, thank you for the support. They say, if Jack Whistle blows Boeing, he feels fine. He is happy. I don't get it. Let's keep going. Shazbert Tonbot, they say X-37B secrets, Jack. I don't know any. Wish I did. Paul McFadden, thank you for becoming a launch director. That's outstanding. Thank you so much. That's one of the higher levels of membership that you can jump into. You get access to the Capcom. You get access to the Discord and all of the other perks, including your name at the end of NSF Live. But the Discord is where it's at, in my opinion. Hop into the Discord, Paul. Say hey, and check out all of the cool channels there and all the extra content that you now have access to, including the pre-show and post-show to the Flame Trench, which is every Friday, and that means there's a Flame Trench tomorrow. And that means it's going to be a good time to get into the Discord and check out the pre-show and post-show, since now you have access to it. Also, Paul gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Thanks so much, man. That's absolutely outstanding. Revhead gifting 5 Red Team memberships as well. Thank you so much. And the clock continuing to tick down. Right now, looking at 41 minutes and change. Hey, how about we do some questions? You want to do some questions?
Let's do some questions.
And as a reminder, if you in chat have any questions, at NASA Spaceflight so we can see them pop up. Chris Nett's asking, do you think we'll see plane deployment? Max?
Unlikely. Due to the classified nature of this mission, we are probably going to lose views after stage separation. Normally, SpaceX has onboard views for the broadcast that show payload sep or payload deploy. No, I'm completely blanking on words. The payload's being released from the upper stage of the vehicle and looking down towards the engine bell on the MVAC or the Merlin vacuum engine. So, but I don't think so tonight, just due to the nature of the mission. But we will have to wait and see. And of course, there's only one way to find out. We hope so. It'd be really cool to see, but really, the only image we have ever really seen of the X-37 in space, at least taken on board the spacecraft, was released, I can't remember if it was this year or like very end of year last year, and that was on its last flight aboard Falcon Heavy, which launched at the end of 2023. And of course, it used Falcon Heavy because it was going to a highly eccentric orbit with an apogee of about, I think it was around 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface, and then coming back down. It might actually be higher. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. But of course, where this vehicle is going tonight, it does not require the performance of a Falcon Heavy. So Falcon 9 will suffice for this mission and its priorities, but I think we are going to be losing views, at least aboard Stage 2 after stage separation.
Good deal. Yeah, unfortunately, Probably not going to see it. Probably won't even get second stage cameras, which is a question here from Paul J. Good questions, though. Also, Dr. Holly's in chat. Hey, Dr. Holly. Regarding the quantum inertial navigation system, she says the best explanation I can give you is that more accurate measurements can be made with what are effectively atom-sized gyroscopes. This is the spherical cow explanation, though. Neat. I appreciate that. Severin's asking, do we know when or where the X-37B will land? Geez, it hasn't even launched yet. Max, do we know? Have they said anything in regarding this? I suspect not, but
Not yet, and they really will not say anything publicly about the spacecraft, and we will normally just find out either from any TFRs, either here at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, or at Vandenberg Space Force Base, which it has touched on before as well. But that normally comes like right before it's about to re-enter and come home. But normally we have no insight in terms of mission duration or where it is going to come back. It is a matter of when Boeing will end up either saying something or what notice we see come up for it, or if somebody on public property sees it either come back or can spot it with a telescope in orbit, which has happened before, which is really, really cool. But usually we have no idea.
Right. All good questions, though. All right, we are at T-minus 37 minutes and change, so we should probably hit the timeline. D, where are we at in the timeline, and how are things looking?
Well, we've just crossed about the 38-minute mark, which is when the launch director from SpaceX should verify the go for propellant load. So if all is going well, in about 2.5 minutes, we should have the start of RP1 loading for the first and second stage, as well as the start of liquid oxygen loading for the first stage. So those go on for a couple minutes. We'll probably get the better sign that things are still going well when we start to see frost on that first stage, which normally happens around the 32-minute mark once that liquid oxygen has been flowing for a little bit. As we get closer, at the T-minus 20-minute mark, we'll see the famous 20-minute vent, where they start preparing for liquid oxygen loading on the second stage. Around 16 minutes, they'll actually begin that liquid oxygen loading, and then at the 7-minute mark, they'll begin to cool down the engines prior to the launch. A lot of things happen in the last minute, including the flight computers beginning, the tank pressurization going on, and finally go for launch at like 45 seconds.
Excellent. All right, well, we'll keep our eyes out for frost, hopefully soon here in like 4 or so minutes. I see Theron Lewis asking repeatedly if there will be anybody on site covering the landing of the spaceplane. Here's the thing. It's probably going to be on orbit for like many years. So, yes, hopefully, maybe, but that's not a problem for right now. That's a problem for like 3 years from now. That's one of the features of the X-37B is that it can stay on orbit for an extended duration. And to that end, we have a question from Hop Hayes asking, how long will this orbit be? Plus or minus 1,100 days. All right, we all get to put our chips on the table. D, how long do you think this orbit will be? Plus or minus 1,100 days.
I have to guess under, probably. So going through some of the previous missions for the X-37, like the early flights were a bit shorter. There was a 224-day one, then an almost 500-day one. The longest flight that they've had so far was a 900-day mission, which started in May of 2020 and then ended in November of 2022. If I had to guess, I would say under, but that's... who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe the Space Force does. I always wonder, like, do they have a planned duration, or do they kind of just go until they're like, we're good? Max, what do you think? Plus or minus 1,100 days?
I would love to know more of the specifics about what constituted a 900-plus day mission, and if that would either require a longer mission to achieve whatever objectives they need. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I would probably, let's see, I'm 80-20. 80% of me wants to say under 1100 and like 20% of me wants to go above 1100 just because it'd be really rad to have a spacecraft up there for that long and come back under its own power. But my gut is telling me under for sure. I think. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Or not, because Boeing never says anything. I don't know. Not sure. We'll find out. Or not.
Or maybe we will. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm gonna go with over, but that's a complete guess. I'd be lying if I said that was anything other. Paul McFadden gifting 5 more Red Team memberships. Paul, buddy, bro, my guy, thank you so much. Seriously, that really means a lot. We have a huge team of people, not just people like Max who are out in the field on the ground pointing cameras, but also people on the production side and people on all variety of aspects of operations for what we do. So, hey, look, a tweet, an official tweet from the SpaceX Twitter account. It says, all systems looking good and weather is 90% favorable for tonight's Falcon 9 launch of the Space Force's USSF 36 mission. The webcast will go live about 20 minutes ahead of liftoff. Sweet. Keeping our eyes on the vehicle, looking for frost on the tanks, indicating that prop load has started. I feel like maybe? Is that just wishful thinking? Is it stair vent again? We'll keep our eyes on it. Let's keep doing questions in the meantime. Max Owen is asking, is this a northeastern or a southeastern trajectory?
It is heading off to the northeast tonight, although it is not following a rough. I'm not quite sure what the exact orbital inclination is, but it'll be heading off in a northeastern direction. So if you are in, say, Daytona Beach or New Smyrna Beach, Jacksonville, it is going to be coming your way. Also, if you are further north in like Georgia, any of the Carolinas, even further north going into like Virginia and the like, there is a very good chance you could see Falcon 9 and the X-37 soaring tonight, at least into second stage flight, if you look east out over the Atlantic Ocean. If you are south of the Cape, don't fret, you are still going to see it. Of course, it is still going to be a great view, but the rocket is going to be flying away from you. So keep that in mind. But there you can see the notices around the launch site and then also as well around the LZ. No, I almost said LZ again, thinking it's a drone ship landing because I'm so used to drone ship landings. No, it's an RTLS tonight, Maxwell. Get it right.
Did you just call yourself Maxwell?
I did. I talk to myself like that sometimes just because. No, I think so. If you are north of the launch site, you're going to have a great view, of course, although weather pending, we know there is still some nastiness out in the Atlantic off the coast of the Carolinas at the moment. But hopefully that is not going to intrude on your views. For those of us in Florida tonight, my goodness, it should not be for us because at the moment we are seeing a ton of stars and there is no moon in the sky to dim them. So everything is looking good for a great show.
Heck yeah. Hopefully 30 minutes from now, we're watching Falcon 9 lift off. Is that for the fairings? Wait, what? That's on the other side of Mexico. What are we looking at? Hawaii? Yeah, there's Hawaii. Thank you, Carson.
Is that for the second stage? Okay.
Second stage. I wonder if like any of those random islands out there in the middle of the Pacific. yeah. With Carson's just circled with his mouse. That would be really interesting. Neat. Hopefully they don't. You know what? Never mind. Let's see. Let's do some more questions. Also, there is frost accumulating on the vehicle, right, D?
Absolutely. So that liquid oxygen loading has been happening. You can see towards the bottom of the vehicle. It's actually most visible tonight through the vapor coming off it, the condensation in the air versus the ice line itself. But you can still see a little bit of that ice line on the rocket, and we'll see that continue to grow as the fuel fills up that first stage until they begin the liquid oxygen loading on the second stage.
Sweet. Well, that's good. Under 30 minutes to go. Hopefully we get quite a show tonight from Falcon 9 and X-37B. Alan W says, that looks like a cascading vent. Tri-vent, anyone? Oh, I missed the tri-vent.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
do
deep
I.
cut. That's a deep cut. Hearing Adrian and Alex excitedly shout, Tri-vent, Tri-vent, through my headphones while I'm sweating my face off. Good times. Jerwa is asking... No, we'll do that one in a little bit. Sorry, Jerwa. We will do that one. Isabel Inc. is asking, how does the re-entry profile of the X-37B differ, if at all, from Shuttle, Dream Chaser, and Starship? Well, right off the bat, we can say Starship does not have a similar entry profile. I mean, maybe in the high atmosphere when it's doing, Mach Jesus, it does some S-turns, but it's not the same.
Jeez. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things. It's like Joe Bernard saying Gorbillion. It lives rent free in my head. So Dream Chaser, Shuttle, and X-37B. I do not know the dynamics of each of their reentry in particular, and Dream Chaser's never flown, but I imagine between the X-37B and the Shuttle, they're relatively similar. Does anyone have any further deeper thoughts on this? Max, perhaps?
Yeah, I was just going to say it, but D already said in the back channel. The entry profile of Starship currently is just yes, and that they have yet to fully demonstrate what it can do consistently. Oh, yes, fair.
You have to add the second part of that. I didn't just say the entry profile is just yes.
It's not, because that's not technically correct. So I'm not going to say that. But
okay.
The space shuttle comes in at a more shallow angle to preserve what it can handle thermally with its own TPS, and it maneuvers left and right to make sure it is maneuvering in the right way. And I don't know if we actually know anything about how the X-37 re-enters. I mean, it's a mystery when it even comes home. Sometimes we hear a sonic boom here on the space coast of Florida, especially up here in Titusville, because we are in pretty close proximity to the SLF, or the shuttle landing facility, now LLF, or launch and landing facility here at the Kennedy Space Center. I don't know. I really don't know. I wish we knew more. Maybe we can hit up Scott Manley or Joe Bernard or someone and get their insight of how a vehicle of that size may be able to fly differently compared to a vehicle of the size of either the orbiters or Starship. I'm not sure.
You know what I think of, and maybe this is just because I'm an airplane guy, so who knows if it actually translates to spacecraft, but I think of, like, say, an F-16, and then I also think of an Airbus A380. The shuttle is more like an A380. The X-37B is more like an F-16, at least in my head. Now, I don't know if that actually translates to maneuverability or, lift to what is it? Glide ratio, all that kind
lift
of
to drag ratio.
Yeah, exactly. Like all that kind of stuff. I don't know, but just based on size alone, I think of the X-37B and I'm like, oh, that's kind of really small. And I feel like it might be more maneuverable than a large, ungainly space shuttle orbiter, but I honestly don't know.
Honestly, like you say that, but then I'm thinking back to some of the footage that has been taken of it actually landing on whatever runways it has before. It comes in really, really, really steep, and those wings are really tiny, even though they are a decent size compared to the actual vehicle. They are still pretty small, and they are more meant, I guess, to serve purpose in the latter half of the entry when there is actually atmosphere to steer against. Same with the twin vertical stabilizers. I wish I knew. I wish I knew more.
I would love to know more. Hopefully, as time goes on, more and more will become declassified about the X-37B. But suffice to say, extremely interesting vehicle one way or the other. Let's see. Samuel Miller is asking about landing. Does the X-37B always land in Edwards or somewhere else, or do we have any video of it landing? There is video out there of it landing. It has landed at Vandenberg. I believe it's landed at Edwards. No, it has landed at Edwards. I believe it's landed at Vandenberg. I'm not sure about Vandenberg, but I'm pretty sure. And it has also landed at KSC. So I think those are the three places. I could be mistaken. I'm waiting for Alex to correct me in the back channel.
I want to say it was also tested, at least in the early stages, and probably with the subscale models as well at Edwards. I could be wrong.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the X-37B itself is a offshoot of, I think, I want to say the X-40.
Yes. Yep.
So that, like, people out there who are like, oh, how can Boeing do the X-37B, which is wildly successful, and yet also Starliner? And it's like, well, they kind
Different
of
departments.
Yeah,
Different departments.
yes, and B, they kind of benefited a lot from pre-existing programs that they were able to sort of cannibalize from their work with NASA. Alex in our back channel informing me it's never landed at Edwards. It's always either been Vandy or KSC. There you go. So that's how secretive it is. They don't even want to land it at Edwards. But yeah, maybe what you were talking about, Max, the subscale, or maybe it was the X-40 stuff. But yeah, interesting. Very good questions, y'all. Keep them coming. We are 23 minutes and change, and the clock is continuing to tick down. We are getting closer and closer to that 20-minute event, which we will talk about here shortly, in case you have no idea what I'm talking about. Sedated We, thanks for the super chat. They say, that's a deep cut. I'm old. I mean, it's an NSF deep cut. Slick40 is asking, nice name by the way, are there any benefits to a quantum inertial navigation sensor other than improved positional accuracy? I can think of one, and that is resilience to jamming. If you're relying on signals from GPS satellites, those can be jammed. If you're relying on a thing that is internal to yourself, presumably less easy to jam because you're not communicating with a thing that, your radio waves or laser light or whatever, what have you, could be intercepted and manipulated, and with a man in the middle kind of attack. Yeah, that's what I could think of. Yeah, anybody else? D?
I don't think I have anything to add there.
It's one of those things where, like, quantum inertial, like, I didn't realize we were at a point where we could actually make use of quantum anything.
It's so wild to think about. Like
The last time I
how-
heard quantum anything, it was like quantum dots or something on a TV like 10 years ago, and it was mostly a branding thing. Like, they wanted it to sound fancy, so they put the word quantum in there. In this case, it's not just to sound fancy. It's not a buzzword. They're legitimately taking advantage of the properties of quantum mechanics. Sorry, D, I railroaded you there.
No, you're totally right. It's like quantum computing, quantum, all this stuff has been like a such a distant thing. It's felt like, and even as it's become more of a reality, it's even more hard to wrap your head around than, yes, we made sand be able to think. Like that's one level of being able to understand it, and then going to the quantum stuff, it's like, how do we even begin to think about it?
Pretty cool. I'm really glad there are people in the world who are much smarter than me. Suffice to say. More questions. Let's keep jamming down the question train, which is a sentence that makes sense, apparently. Somebody named Kevin Michael Reed is asking, how the heck does a space plane fit in the fairing of a Falcon 9? Like, that's pretty cool. It is pretty cool, right? Yeah, right, Max? Carefully.
Very carefully, because the wings do not fold in or retract. So obviously the dimensions of the standard Falcon 9 fairing obviously are sufficient to fit the vehicle inside. But from that picture, it looked to be like the margins were very low, and albeit it looked, I don't think it was actually inside the fairing when that picture was taken. It was probably a bit back, so the depth of field was a bit off. But
right.
It's probably a very tight fit.
Good deal. Well, we are looking now at the T-minus 20-minute vent. It's actually T-minus 20-minute and 20-second vent, but who's counting? But that is a good sign that everything is on track, right, D?
It sure is. So it means that they are preparing to load that liquid oxygen into the second stage. Similar with the chilling of the engines, you don't want to just start the flow immediately. You want to cool things down a little bit slower, clear lines, and the like. And so they have this 20-minute vent to get everything ready for that liquid oxygen loading on the second stage, which will begin at the T-minus 16-minute mark.
Yeah, fun fact, we talk all about chill down, at least in the context of Raptor, in a video we put out earlier today that's all about Raptor testing. So if you want to know more about chill down in the context of rockets, that might be a good place to start. But in the meantime, Falcon 9 is well past starting, getting ready to launch, because we are seeing things loaded on the vehicle, as evidenced by that vent. Yay! All right, let's keep going down the question tree. Max, the angry engineer is asking, how many landings are left on LZ2 before it's retired, like LZ1? Have they started construction on new landing zones? Question mark.
So to answer the latter half of the question first, there are permits out both at LC39 and Slick 40 for brand new landing zones on either part of their property. In terms of if how many landings are left at LZ2, I guess now just call it the LZ. I actually don't know. I'm really not sure. I think they want to aim to get the LZs at LC39A and Slick 40 up by the end of next year, which I can see happening because it really doesn't take much to build a concrete pad there. It's not like they're building an entire launch complex, thankfully. But I don't know. But I can't imagine it has much longer. I would probably say towards maybe mid next year. But however many missions that entails, I'm not quite sure. But that is also going to be interesting whenever they do end up flying a Falcon Heavy with recoverable side cores again, and where those boosters are going to end up going, because they need at least two on land to land them, obviously. So I'm not quite sure, but I can't imagine that LZ2 has much life left in it yet.
Interesting. It's going to be sad. It's like, I sort of feel like they should be preserved as a historic place, but also we only have so many places we can launch rockets from, so I
Yep.
get it. Wow, there is like no wind tonight.
None. It's basically the air is just almost stagnant out here tonight. Here at the price site, there is a little bit of a breeze, which is just enough to really kind of feel nice and make the flag over on the flagpole, kind of by the countdown clock, which is off, moving and swaying a little bit. But honestly, it's nothing really to write home about. But otherwise, the air is almost stagnant. It's a very, very, very still night out here.
Neat. Brian Lone, thanks for becoming a PadRat member. Alex Vaughn, gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much. Be sure to thank the person that gifted you the membership if you got one and your name in chat just turned green. Flight 10, or Flight X, thanks for the support. They say, why do you always use ChatGPT and not Grok? I use both. What? Whatever tool you like is good to use. ODST Moody, thank you for the support. They say, I believe the quantum inertial navigation can also be used in underwater environments. So if you're mapping the seafloor or deep underwater canyons, you can get incredibly accurate maps out of it. That's very interesting. If you're in a nuclear submarine or a remote underwater vehicle or something like that, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Really interesting, Moody. Thank you for the super chat and the food for thought there. Isabel Inc., thanks for the support. They say, how many space planes can a space plane deploy if a space plane could deploy a space plane?
About that many.
I would say, how many space planes can a space plane plane if a space plane could plane planes?
Yes.
Good deal. Good work, everybody. Sedated, thank you for the support. Again, they say, silent viewers and Starhopper, glad I can finally contribute. Thank you so much. Y'all's coverage is everything I wish I had as a childhood space fan that watched the best looking rocket ever live on NASA TV, Ares 1X.
Ares 1X, what? Best rocket?
I probably should have read that before I read it out loud, but it is true. Ares 1X is a great rocket. It's a beautiful rocket.
It really is. It deserves more appreciation than it gets. We're in the Ares era.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, but let's move on. Barbara Wells, thanks for gifting a Red Team membership. All right, let's keep jamming on the question train. Ken D-Man is asking if this is the only space plane, or do we know if this is the only space plane, or do they have a fleet of them, Max?
They have at least 2 that we know of and that we have seen, although I don't actually know if there's any official record if they have more. I was talking to Alex before we went live, and they have at least 2, and this is, I believe, vehicle number 1. Vehicle number
Yep.
2 flew obviously the last time from Falcon Heavy, and this is vehicle 1. So, although I don't know if I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, they have 2. Is basically the answer. We think they have 2. We know they have 2. That's it. It's vehicle 1 flying tonight, which is the first one to have flown. Pretty neat. Johan M is asking, when flight 10, that's Starship, full stack? I don't know. Guessing like Saturday. Max, what do you think?
It happens when it happens.
D?
Sunday,
Sunday?
maybe. We'll see.
Oh, I hope
Wouldn't that
not.
be something?
I hope not. We'll see. Lords of Random's asking, how do we know they're not reusing the same one? Ooh, they actually wrote that part out too. I assume because they look different, from their minor differences in scarring from orbit and entry. But in particular, this will be the first time Vehicle 1 flies on Falcon. All the other 2, is it? X-37B flights on a Falcon 9 were Vehicle 2. But yeah, the 2 vehicles look different. They're distinct. It's like, how do we know what fairing half is what? Sometimes people are able to, discern which fairing half is which based on its particular markings, which are unique to it.
Interestingly, like the X-37Bs have landed in both directions at Kennedy. It seems silly, but it's like they are going to different orbits. They're testing all these different things, and like we saw last time, it was the highly elliptical orbit, and
Right.
depending on those things and the conditions in which pass, like all these different flights are unique, even in the way that they come back to Earth.
Yeah, didn't they do some crazy stuff on the last one where they did like aero braking in the atmosphere to change its orbit? Pretty dang cool, if you ask me.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Let's keep doing some more questions. You can see a neat overlay there on screen showing the fairing, the second stage, and the first stage. But I suspect if you're watching a NASA spaceflight feed, you already knew that. That fairing does look mighty nice, though. Nice clean fairing half on one side with the logo on it.
We don't see fairing art too much anymore, which is kind of a shame, but it makes it, I guess, that much more special whenever we do see it.
It's like one of those things where in the times of yore, before reusable rockets were a thing, every single fairing got the love of some nice art painted onto it, right? And you don't put a nice piece of like a nice paint job on every airliner before it takes off from the airport. Like, this one's going to Tahiti. Like, it's not it just doesn't work like that. But certain major missions do still get the fairing art, and you love to see it. That's really beautiful. Nice. Ken Schaefer gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much, Ken. That's outstanding. As well, Sue Hardesty gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you both so much. Thank you to everybody who's able to support us in any way. Doesn't have to be a monetary thing. Always like to say that. If you're watching and you're like, oh, geez, I wish I could support them, I can't. That's fine. Like, everyone is here. We're all hanging out. You don't have to support us monetarily. Just hit the like button. I know it's stupid YouTube cliche, but it really does make a difference. And let people know that what you're watching is good, so that maybe YouTube shows it to more people. And that's just as helpful as anything else. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us and watching this rocket get ready to launch, hopefully in like 10.5 minutes here. Jerwa, thank you for the super chat. They say, I heard it from a friend of a friend. They're going up to pick up Zuma. Oh, man. Talk about a deep cut. Chat, who out there in chat knows what Zuma? Does Zuma mean anything to anybody in chat? I wonder how well versed our audience is in Falcon 9 lore. Moldy Space, first one, says me. Good deal. Maybe we'll talk about Zuma on the Flame Trench tomorrow. But I don't feel like now is particularly the time. But thank you, Jerwa. Speaking of Jerwa, they're asking over-under on how long it'll be up this time. We kind of did that already with over-under 1,100 days, but let's just throw a numby out there. Max, how long do you think it'll be up there this time?
707.
Ooh, I like it. D?
I can't put a number on it. I
All right, that's fair. I would normally harangue you, but I'm going to give you this one-time amnesty on stream just for you.
678. How about that? Make it a
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm going to say 420. Haha. I heard that. Also, Jerwa just gifted 10 Red Team memberships in addition to everything else. Thank you, Jerwa. Absolute legend. Offshore Divert is asking, do you think they'd have a good use to build a larger version of the X-37B, or would they even want to at this point? I don't think so. I mean, we always say Starship is Shuttle 2.0. Why build an X-37B 2.0 when Starship's about to come online? Max, what do you think? Bigger X-37B ever, maybe, question mark?
I mean, obviously the Space Force is content with what I guess both X-37s are able to do and whatever data that they're able to get for them. So I think building a different vehicle of a different size is just a much more costly endeavor than I guess they would want to do when they have vehicles like Starship, hopefully coming online operationally within the next maybe year or so. And also we have vehicles like Dream Chaser coming up online hopefully next year as well. So it's not like the X-37 is the only space plane in business right now, even though it is technically the only one flying right now, at least here in the U.S.
Right.
But Dream Chaser should be one to follow it, hopefully, in not too long from now, although we were saying the same thing like last year and the year before. And then, you know how it goes with delays, but
Yep.
I don't believe so. I don't think it makes much sense. But everybody, I think we are at about T-minus 7.5 minutes now. I have cameras to get ready, and I believe it is time to get them set for launch. So good luck, everybody. Enjoy the show, and I will see y'all on the other side.
Good deal. Thank you, Max, and we'll see you on the other side. Have a good launch, and Godspeed. Oh no, I forget where D falls on the stubby nozzle tribalism.
I don't know, Jack. What do you think about stubby nozzle?
You know, not a big fan.
Well, that's a shame, isn't it? Because the stubby nozzle, while you can criticize its looks all you like, is an incredibly efficient use of materials for a stage that is going to be destroyed on reentry. It makes sense to maximize your manufacturing efficiency, use less material if you can, and all good things when you look at it technically.
Yeah, that's fair. I will give you all of those. But the one thing is we don't know if it's going to be stubby or not tonight, do we?
We don't know for sure. You can tend to get a bit of an idea by the fact that they can do an RTLS. Okay, so that means there's probably less payload mass, or it's going to a lower energy orbit or something. But then the question becomes, for this exact profile and the exact amount of propulsion that they need, do they have the margin to also have a stubby nozzle? That's a bit of a question that hopefully we will get an answer to in just a few short minutes.
I fear we won't, but maybe we will. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But given the secrecy of the mission, I'm not expecting to actually find out.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. But it comes down to some of the trade-offs of, okay, is the second stage that much less expensive, or do they get even more savings? That it's worth it to expend the little bit of extra manufacturing time and material so that you can do the return to launch site for the more efficient recovery operations.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow, $100 super from Russell Snodgrass. Russell, another OG tank watcher, always coming through with huge amounts of support. Thank you so much, Russell. They say, after they recover these fairings, will they repaint it for future fleet use or set it aside for the next spaceplane launch? I suspect repaint, because the next one of these probably won't be for a long time, on the order of years. But good question. And seriously, dude, thank you so much. That is an outstanding amount of support. And, we can't do this stuff without the support of everybody out there, especially people like you, Russell. Absolutely fantastic. And we've got 3 24/7 live streams, huge team of people, and we're really not a big company. We're just a bunch of people who are kind of obsessed with rockets. Kind of, just a little bit. Hey, look, Strongback Retract is underway. I'm trying to see it. It's very subtle at first, right, D?
It definitely is, and it's also one of those things. I'm used to being at this point in the field and like working on my camera, that sort of thing. So I'm not actually super used to seeing it, at least for the Cape and Kennedy launches, like from SpaceX's camera feeds.
Really beautiful feeds right now. Also, ooh, what's that over there by the Starship pad? Interesting. Human's asking, why is it called the X-37B? Is there an X-37A? There's all kinds of different X-37. There was even an X-37C proposed, I believe. But yeah, they're different variants, basically. There's not an X-37A currently flying. But yeah, X-37B is the one that ended up being the good one that ended up being operational. There goes the Strongback further now. A little bit. You can see it moving a little bit. You can see it stop, then move, then stop, then move.
So my understanding is the 37A they built one of for glide testing and the like, and it was used for all this atmospheric drop testing ahead of the 37B.
Nice. And I think the C was a proposed larger variant. Uh, 2.5 minutes to go. Reynolds asking if they can see the rocket from California. Probably not. In fact, almost certainly not. But if you're on the East Coast, definitely go out and look. You might be able to see the second stage cooking because it is going on a northeasterly trajectory. Might just be a dot hauling butt across the sky, but it would be really cool to see, especially given that we're not expecting to get any particularly good views or any views from stage 2 in flight with the secrecy of tonight's mission. Two minutes to go, and we're about to see another one of those vents, like the T-minus 20-minute vent, right, D?
Yeah, so around the 90-ish second mark, we see another one of these vents as they, I believe this is with ground gas closeouts, and they we're used to seeing this in the lead up to launch, and it's a great sign to see it now.
Yeah, that'll be LOX load complete on stage 2. You can see the water tower overflowing right there. That's fine. That's nominal. That just means it's full and happy. All right, coming up on a minute to go when Falcon 9's internal computer will take control. And if it sees anything it doesn't like, it says, I'm not going to space today. But hopefully that doesn't happen. And it sees everything all nice and good. And we're about to see the X-37B launch in just about a minute to go. I'm excited. All right. Under a minute, Falcon 9 is in startup. 45 seconds. You're going to want to watch the base of the vehicle. You see those tall, cylindrical-looking things off to the right? There's also 2 on the left, but they're kind of obscured. Those are the Rainbirds. You're going to see them fire up first and start shooting water all over the pad. And I'm hearing in the back channel, Falcon 9 is go for launch. So you'll see those Rainbirds start to belch their water onto the pad, and then you will see maybe a green flash at the base of the vehicle. Oh, Alex is telling me the Rainbirds activate after launch. Really now? Yeah, see, there they go. Belching water. 10 seconds to go. 5. Watch for that green flash. Maybe we'll see it. Ignition and liftoff of USSF 36, the X-37B flying on Falcon 9 for a third time. Let's listen in. Wow. I never want to talk over the crackle. I always feel bad. But there you go. You can see Falcon 9 ascending into the thinner and thinner atmosphere, and you can see its exhaust plume change as it does, getting wider and wider as there's less pressure pushing in on it from the outside, and also changing color to that beautiful ethereal purpley blue at the end. Absolutely gorgeous. X-37B on its way to space. Falcon 9, remember, is going to be coming back to the launch site after stage separation. So the show ain't over, folks. It's just starting. There is Miko, stage sep. Come on, second stage. Max is doing an outstanding job with this track. There's second stage ignition. That was beautiful. And there's the boost back burn on the first stage with a Falcon 9 Nebula as our treat.
Always stunning to see the boost back burn at night.
Really fantastic. You can see the plume from the second stage and the plume from the first stage interacting. Just gorgeous. Really beautiful stuff. And there is the first stage continuing to null out its horizontal velocity and head back to the launch site. Alex on our back channel reporting MVAC ignition and fairing SEP confirmed nominal. Second stage continuing to cook on into orbit. Again, not expecting second stage views today given the secrecy of the mission. I almost feel like I saw a fairing there for a second. But Max doing an outstanding job not only exposing properly for that nebula, but also keeping the camera on the pinprick of light that is stage 2 as it absolutely hauls the mail towards the horizon. Fantastic. Go, little space plane, go. I really hope if you're out on the East Coast right now, you are outside and looking up, and maybe you can see this thing hauling the mail across the sky. That would be neat. I also wonder if there's going to be people, I'm not sure where around the world, that might see Falcon 9's second stage passivate before re-entering after deploying the X-37B. Maybe we'll get some interesting cell phone footage from somewhere around the world tomorrow of a weird spiral in the night sky. Are those the fairings? It looks like those are the two fairings. They're not stars because they're moving sort of along with the second stage. That's neat.
They definitely could be those fairings.
That's really neat. You can sort of see some stars, you know, in the background. I don't think those are stars. That's really cool. Fantastic work from Max out in the field. I can't wait till we get him back and can yell at him about the good job that he did. First stage is now headed back down to the landing zone. It's hit its apogee. Remember, after stage SEP, the first stage continues ascending for quite some time before actually heading back down. I mean, why null out your vertical velocity when gravity will just do it for you? Ricky Sanchez says, California, Palm Springs, can't see nothing. Ricky, I'm sorry, East Coast. This was an East Coast launch. Space Ghost is asking how long until RTLS? Very soon. Hopefully Max will get lens on the entry burn and landing burns when they happen here in just a few moments.
Yes, and stage 1 is well past its apogee and on its way back down.
Indeed. I can't believe Max is still tracking this thing. That is wild. Second stage, cooking along with its secret payload atop. Wow. So, as a reminder, if you have your volume turned up loud, there is a chance that we will get sonic booms when Falcon 9 comes back down and lands. So, be prepared for that. I don't want to jump scare anybody out there. Coming up on entry burn, we'll see if we get views of it or not. Max is tracking the second stage, but we do have more than one camera out there. Some robotic cameras that are being operated remotely as well. So keeping our eyes open for that. There's entry burn, where Falcon 9 fights fire with fire. First stage enveloping itself in its own exhaust, supersonic retro propulsion, in order to protect itself from the heat of entry. Looks like Max is looking for the entry burn, which should be underway. Oh, there he goes. He got it. The Mad Lad actually got it. There you go. Entry burn. Now Falcon 9 has gotten through the wall, so to speak. Max looks like he's searching to acquire. And now the next step for Falcon 9 will be the landing burn at the very last moment at LZ2 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Excellent.
And we have to remember to listen in after the landing, because with the distance to the mics, we'll see it land, and then several seconds later, we will hear that sonic boom.
I'll try really hard to not talk over the boom. The key word in that sentence is the word try. Yeah, Mick Ronald in chat. Please don't talk over the sonic boom. We'll try. Here comes. There you have it. Sonic booms. Ah, that sound never gets old. Well, booster back on the ground after lofting the second stage. Huzzah! And there's our favorite site on launch day, an empty launch site. Max, do we have you back? Might be too quick since Falcon 9 just landed, but Max, if you can hear me, when you're back, feel free to hop in and give us a launch report on how that was for you on the ground. Really spectacular. I mean, RTLSs. Is there any better launch than an RTLS?
No. Our RTLS missions are certainly some of the most exciting missions. It feels weird to say it's like a mini Starship launch, but it really is. Getting to see that reentry and see the burns there, it is always so cool when you have an RTLS.
For real. We've got some replays in work of launch. So stand by. We will take a look at the replays here shortly. In the meantime, I do thank Anonymous saying, I just bought a t-shirt. I can't wait to receive it. They got the Mock Diamonds t-shirt. That's legit like one of my very favorite designs that we have. Thank you, Anonymous. Really absolutely means the world that people want to support us by running to the shop and grabbing something from it. It is huge in terms of the amount of support we get from the shop in particular, and you get something cool in return. So thank you, Anonymous, for that. We hope you enjoy the shirt. That design, the Mock Diamonds design, it's just chef's kiss. And I'm not just saying that. More line art schematic shirts, please. More exploded diagram shirts. More, I'm out of ideas. Max, do we have you back? Maybe? No.
I'll just say more shirts, more better.
More shirts, more better. Well,
More
unless it's
shirts,
like
more
really
better.
hot out, because then you're going to overheat, you know.
Yes, very true. There's definitely a time where more shirts are not more better, but more shirt designs more better.
Yes. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. Oh, good stuff. Mr. Sir asked, didn't they use to launch this on Atlas V? Yes, and they still could. Or they could probably launch it on Vulcan. It is not launch vehicle specific. Hey, look, replays. Neat. This will be, what is this, D? Fleet cam?
It looks like one of the fleet cams.
Fleet 1. It's cool because, it's not like a super zoomed in, crazy, but this is about what you would see with your eyes. Also, that was neat.
Honestly, even maybe a little bit brighter. Like, it is shockingly bright. It really turns night into day.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, it's going to hit the cloud deck. Yeah, let's go. Hit the cloud deck. Take that, you stupid cloud. Bam, right in the kisser. Take that, you stupid cloud. Bam, right in the kisser. That's beautiful. Can you tell I don't like clouds?
Okay, but clouds can be such a fun part.
All right. D with the logic. Fine.
They help show vehicles speed on the way up, which
You're
you
right. You're
lose
right.
context for.
You're right. Here's another shot. Beautiful. This will be our KSC-2 camera. Love the Starship Tower in the background. And the plume, the exhaust just lit by the rocket above it. That's one of my favorite things about night launches. As a lighting geek, you sort of get to see, what if I did throw an extremely large, very orange source ascending rapidly up into the air?
Jack, I'm looking at chat right now, and these many minutes later, I'm seeing people talk about being able to hear the sonic boom from quite long distances away.
No way.
So I'm really looking forward to Max being back and able to talk about the sound of that sonic boom, because people in the Central Florida area and around the Space Coast are saying that was a particularly loud sonic boom.
Yeah, I see No Soup for you. Also, now I want to watch Seinfeld. Thank you. Say big boom in Oviedo. Wow. I used to live in Oviedo. That's not close. That's like a solid 45 minutes plus away. Yeah, Awesome Hog 1 says just heard the sonic boom. J-Train heard it in Lake Nona. Tito said it shook their house in Rockledge. Off-Grid Pete says it woke them up in Lake Mary. Wow, Alex heard it in Orlando 3 minutes after landing. That's really, really cool. You never know what the atmospheric conditions are going to do on a given launch. Oh, I'm supposed to be looking at replays. I just realized I was not even looking at the replays. I was looking at chat. I'm sorry. There's landing. Beautiful. It almost looks wrong. It's like, wait, why rocket not go up? It's like, it's fine, it's Falcon 9. Mr. Trick's video is asking, why was the sonic boom so late? Because sound travels actually pretty dang slow, especially when you compare the speed of sound to the speed of light. Light is way faster. So if you're far away, even if you see the thing, it's going to take a long time for the sound to get to you. And I think I just talked over the sonic boom replay. My bad.
It was destined to happen.
Certified Jack moment.
Welcome back, Max.
Oh God. Yeah. Hello. Sorry for flashbanging everybody.
Oh, you just talked over the boom. Haha, it wasn't me.
Max didn't know.
Well, it'd be nice if I had some kind of heads up.
You did. You should have looked at Control Center.
Yeah, but Carson was telling you to shut up, not me.
I mean, both of us. But yeah. Anyways, how
All right.
was that, Max?
Are we
Oh,
going to get the
God.
sonic boom again and have to be quiet for it again, Carson?
No,
so
I
we're
think
not
this is
talking
live.
over it?
This is live. We're good. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry for flashbanging everybody. Camera did not expose down like it normally does, so it looks like I have some troubleshooting to do here. Normally it stops down to expose for the brightness of the exhaust, because obviously, as you saw, it's very, very bright. But it did not do that tonight. But that worked out well for the Falcon Boostback Nebula, which I hope everyone enjoyed on screen. But yeah, otherwise it was very, very loud, and the sonic booms were very, very, very intense tonight, probably because it is very humid, and that helps carry the sound a lot better over long distances. But a gorgeous night overall. But I'm sorry, I'm sorry for pulling a Jack Ship 36 explosion moment and flashbanging everybody.
No worries. Also, what? No, you don't.
That was an uncalled for attack on Jack right
that
there.
was like a side quest neg that Max just.
I
like,
had to
threw in there.
because I'm feeling very guilty about flashbanging everyone else in the lovely audience.
Did they see it? I don't even remember seeing it. Did Carson
Why would
show
you? Because
that?
it looked pretty bad.
Well, you don't even need to tell anybody because I don't think it went to air.
Well, I guess I just rat on myself, didn't I?
Yeah,
A little bit.
You did.
Jack,
Hi.
you know what you could use to help block out that light from Max's camera?
A hat? A trucker hat, maybe? A Richardson 112 trucker hat? Or if you don't like trucker hats, a dad cap, which is also available in the store with 2 new designs, one for full stack and one with the Super Heavy Swim Club, which is super apt because the booster on this Flight 10, which is coming up on Sunday, is not going to be caught. It's going to go for a swim. That was all a question, Carson.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Awesome. You could do that. Neat. Yeah, check out the shop. Y'all, again, it's a really great way to support what we do, and you get something in return as well. Ooh, that's a great shot from Julia. Y'all, if you aren't following Julia on the socials, or NSF proper, because I'm sure that's going to retweet this as well, you should be. Wherever social network is your preference, please follow us on there and follow the individual photographers whose work you appreciate. This is absolutely fantastic work from Julia. Like, you can see the a little bit of the nebula in there. You can see the entry burn. You can even see the 131 pattern of the engine ignition on the entry burn. And then you can see the landing burn. It just, and the glassy nature of the chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, Julia. Chat, we got Julia's Twitter in the chat. Be sure to give her a follow. Show her some love. It's absolutely gorgeous. Follow Max as well, because Max is out there braving the mosquitoes and also does fantastic work. Follow all of our socials. It's a great way to keep up with what's going on, especially as we get closer to Flight 10. And, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts. Max, thanks for being on, good buddy.
A pleasure as always. I'll see you guys in Starbase.
Lords of Random wants a print of Julia's shot. I think we might be able to make that happen if Julia acquiesces and the store team wants it. Stay tuned. Another good reason to stay tuned to the socials. D, thanks for being on.
Of course. And I just have to say, Julie's shot there, you can really see the sort of angle that the Falcon 9 makes just before landing. And that's so cool. And all of you need to go and share that right now because it is incredible.
Right. We talk about that a lot. Like Falcon 9 it targets not the landing pad until the last second. And you can really see how if something went wrong at the start of that landing burn, it's just going to ditch into the water. It's not over the landing pad, and it comes in at an angle for safety. Really neat stuff. And finally, speaking of neat stuff, we had Mark grabbing the tumbler from what? Who is in the panel right now? Somebody is in the panel right now, clicking on things that I am not. I did not click on that. Trogdor is asking for a stubby nozzle crop top. That's amazing. Yes,
I'll endorse it.
We should do that. I will not say that I'm going to wear a crop top on stream, but maybe I would if we had one. But yeah, Mark, thank you so much. Grabbing the Starship TPS 20-ounce tumbler from the shop. They say, if I happen to be at Starbase on a launch date, or at least a targeted launch date, what would be my best chance at meeting the NSF team? I have the opportunity in early January. Would love to meet you guys. Very frequently, many of us are shooting at the Rocket Ranch Outpost, so that's a great place to meet us. You can also probably catch us out on the dunes or in the vicinity of the launch site, setting up cameras and all of that. So that would be a good bet. And definitely come by and say hi. We have a running thing where if you see one of us out in the field and you come say hi, you get a NSF sticker or patch or whatever sort of swag we have on us in that moment. But yeah, that's it for this one. X-37B safely on its way to space. Hopefully we get some cool cell phone shots and whatnot tomorrow of the second stage passivating, because that's always fun. Speaking of always fun, Carson Phillips operating today's stream. Thank you, Carson, for doing that. And I think with that, I can say I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. Thank you for watching. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. How about you go hang out in Starbase Live, or Space Coast Live, or McGregor Live? Either way, we'll see you guys on the next one.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal. R68 chamber pressure looks good. Probably not. Roger, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Payload down to nominal.
Flight downside FTE off. Bring in FTE off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Décollage.
What is this?
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
If there's methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.